Hello, today we're going to take a look at the Amstrad CPC 464, which is this computer. When it came out was 1984. This computer now is 31 years old, but I don't think I've done this before. But we're going to take a look at the actual Amstrad CPC itself, like in every detail. I mean, I've done quick reviews on it. It's a bit dusty, but it's still in immaculate condition. So let's take a look at the top of it. Where, oh, this camera, if I can get it properly. Amstrad 64K colour personal computer. So 64K is what we had back in the day. 64 kilobytes of RAM, that means. And then we got the CPC 464 colour and on LED. So CPC obviously stands for colour personal computer. The 464, obviously that was the model, but the 64 represents how much memory it had, as it being 64K. The 4, I think that represented, it meant it had a tape deck, because the 664 and the 6128 were the machines that came out after this, had floppy disk drives. So obviously the 6 meant that it had a disk drive, and the 4 means it's got a tape drive. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I don't do any research on this, I just come out with what I want to sometimes. Let's have a look at the keyboard itself, because I honestly think this really does stand out. I know the people say, oh, the Commodore 64 was great. Yeah, the Commodore 64 was great, but did it look as good as this? My opinion is no, because I really liked how this looked. Like with the red escape key, the green, like the tab, caps lock, shift keys, the blue enter key. I honestly thought one of the great features on this was the cursor keys, because I played a lot of games using the cursor keys. The copy in the middle was a fire button. Actually, the keyboard itself feels really, really nice. It was really responsive, really, you know, because this was supposedly to be rivaling with business machines like the Apple and the IBM, because it can do word processing, and it could have, I think it was 80 lines, you know, on a screen or something like that. It was, that's what Mode 2 was for, really, was the business side of it. So let's have a look. Yep, the keys here. They're not a lot of computers, well, especially the Commodore 64 didn't, had a numerical keypad, or did the Spectrum. But this did. As I say, it was meant for gaming and business. That's what Alan Sugar wanted it for anyway. So here we go, the tape deck part itself. Record, red button, I like that. And the tape deck inside. I have to say, okay, back in the day was a great solution to have it all in one. Obviously with the monitor itself, this is the monitor it come with, this is the colour monitor, the CTM 640. This had the power inside to power the computer itself. So really only one plug was required to operate this whole entire system, which was good. But, well, I'm going to say but, yeah, it was a good idea, but the problem is, well, it ain't a problem actually, because any TV can go bang anyway. But I've had 2 of these monitors back in the day, or my Amstrad computer, and both monitors did fail eventually. But mind you, I used to use the Amstrad computer literally every day, playing games, come home from school, on it, playing games. It never got turned off after time, because the original Amstrad CPC I had, I wore the tape deck out. I said tape deck, shouldn't have said that. Microcomputer software data coder, that's what it's called. I wore that out basically, and this is a complaint I had about the Amstrad really later in life, when they put it all in one. What happens if this messes up? The tape record data coder, that messes up, that goes wrong. If that goes wrong, the old computer's sodded up. What they might have should have done, but then it might have required an extra plug. Then again, I look at the Commodore 64. That didn't require an extra plug because that just plugged into the back, and the Commodore 64 run power to it. So that wasn't an excuse. Maybe they should have sectioned it off. Maybe, like I've seen this, maybe put an interface in the side, or an interface both sides, so you can click it together. That probably would be an ideal solution. Then you can take that off and maybe put a floppy disk drive in it, or etc, etc. But at the days I didn't know, I didn't realise I was going to wear it out. This computer was my mate's. I don't think he hardly used it. He had this about the same time I bought mine, was 1985. And for 1985, this is, well, it's still in very good nick, like it was brand new, apart from the dust. But yeah, I'd say I never stopped using my computer. Obviously, I've had 3 in my time. As I say, the monitors blew up. I had problems with the monitor, but it was just constantly being used all the time. But I ended up getting a modulator after that, and I have to say the modulator was rubbish. Because what the modulator does, it also, you know, it had like a TV aerial which goes into the back of the TVs and the aerial sockets back in the day. No SCART leads, nothing like that, anything like that back in the day. So what the modulator had was the power and the aerial. So because the modulator put power into the Amstrad, but it was rubbish. So let's have a look at the back of the Amstrad, shall we? I don't think I've ever done it. Well, let's have a look at the side first. And as we see a volume control. So the volume actually comes out the speaker at the back of the Amstrad. It didn't use any speakers coming out the monitor. The monitor didn't have speakers. And even if you put it in your TV, there was no sound coming through the TV. And here we go, an on-off switch. There you go. As simple as that. And round the back here we have the monitor connection, and the 5-volt DC obviously for the power, which was the monitor or the modulator, whatever. A floppy disk drive, so we can have a floppy disk drive if we wanted to. Never did it back in the day. A printer port, never had a printer. I don't know if there was any facilities to have a RAM expansion, if you could upgrade this to a 1 to 8K. A user port, meaning that I/O was a joystick port or a mouse port. Yes, you could get a mouse for it because I had an AMX mouse back in the day, but that was weird to connect it. It won't just plug it into there. You had to unplug the power, plug a little into a box, then that box plugs into there. It was really weird. I did not like it. And a headphone jack if you want to listen to it on your headphones. Yeah. So that's it. That's all you can put. That's it. That's nothing on the other side. Okay, that's the computer itself. Let's have a look at the monitor, the colour monitor. So we've got our leads. It's nothing that comes down. So you've got your on-off power switch. Around the side here you have your brightness control, and around the back, if we can see, there we go. Here's your vertical hold and a horizontal hold, which you can't get into for some reason. I don't know why you can't see it properly. There was never a thing to control it. Perhaps you had to use something internally to control it. But this was your vertical hold. Didn't really need it, but there you go. So what did I think of the Amstrad CPC 464? Well, I was going to maybe set it up in a minute. I thought it was a fantastic machine. It was every bit as good as the Commodore 64. Okay, it wasn't better than the Commodore 64. It was as good as the Commodore 64. ZX Spectrum I never owned, so I don't really care. But no, this was my first computer I ever owned. Back in the days I had 3 of them, so yeah, The gaming was a great experience, unless it was coded by US Gold. But yeah, I was glad to own one of these computers, well, free. But I have no complaints against it, really. Maybe for the cassette drive, mind you. I've only had one of them when the thing buggered up, so, and it was down to overuse. It was a great gaming computer. Was great. I was never off this computer. I was supposed to do homework at school, or did I? No, I was playing on my Amstrad computer. That's probably why I failed on my fucking exams. But do I care? No. Well, yeah, I should do, but but that's a different story. But no, it was great times. Great times. Computing these in the 80s were great times. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, look, forgot about the tape count. The counter reset here. It's another feature. So yeah, but that's what it was all about in the 80s, was cassettes. There was no, well, the CDs were about, but CDs was only for music only, and it was pretty rare back in the day, because CDs were quite expensive. That's when it come out, when the thing was developed in the 80s. But I didn't really see any CDs back in the 80s, to be honest with you. It was mainly cassettes or vinyl. So that's what we was used to. I mean, nowadays we're used to MP3, which is a major step up, on my opinion, because you could just load it, just play your music whenever you want. It's great, instead of putting the bloody CD in, or the tape in, or the vinyl in. Fucking thing skips and all that. But anyway, I'm going off at a tangent again, aren't I? So, it's a great computer. That's something else I want to say about the monitor. People saying it was an all-in-one solution, and you know, the monitor was a part of it. Yes, I too agree. But also, I have to say, also, reason why I add a monitor is to cope with the colours and the high resolution of this computer. It's a bit like a PC, really. A PC only works well with a monitor even back in the day. Well, PCs work well with a TV these days, but a PC only worked well with a monitor because of its high resolution. And this was the same case with the Amstrad CPC 464, 664, whatever. That's what I think anyway, because I had a modulator, and it was totally crap. It could not handle the TV could not handle this computer basically through an aerial lead. It was rubbish. Then it makes me think of the question: why could the Amiga handle the TV through an aerial? Why could a PlayStation or whatever handle it through a normal lead? Perhaps because TVs were a little bit more modern then. I do not know, but it was still going through an aerial lead, or was it? I can't remember. I did own a PlayStation 2. I think I plugged it through the SCART. That's why, or something like that. It was not through the aerial. But perhaps you know, Super Nintendos and whatever. I don't know. I never owned them, but that's what I think. This Amstrad computer could not handle a TV because of the high resolution, the eye colours. You know, it was very nice colours on this, and I just honestly don't think a TV could handle it. So that could be a reason. Well, that's my reason anyway. It might be true, it might be false, but as I say, it was an Amstrad's attempt to have it an all-one solution. It worked, but what they didn't think about, what happens if something buggers up like the cassette deck? Oh, sorry, the microcomputer software data coder. Because people might think, oh, you should be saying it should be a data recorder. Okay, if people want to be pedantic, okay, it's a data recorder. Right, okay. So I think this is the... I've done a lot of videos on the Amstrad CPC 464, but I think this is the one that I've gone through it. I've covered what I think. I don't think I've ever done that on another video, so... Okay. I'm not going to set it up. I think you've seen it set up before, so it's no point in me setting it up again. You know, it just makes me say now, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, and goodbye.